Jordan Peterson, you've said that men need to, quote, grow the hell up. Tell me why.
Well, because there's nothing uglier than an old infant.
Need to be a man.
It means everything to me. It means everything to me. It is the ultimate in sacrifice. What I believe it means to be a man, I believe it means to be... It's that motherfucker who people shouldn't understand. It's that guy that literally puts everything before himself. Everything before himself. Family, literally you're the foundation. Which is why I talk about you have to make sure that you're ready to be a man and have a family and take on these responsibilities of life, because you literally have to shoulder so much of the suffering. You don't want to see your wife suffer. You don't want to see your kids suffer. Yeah, there's a point with the kids. Kids have to learn a little bit of suffering.
Sure.
It's important. But you want to make sure you have the answers. If you don't have the answers, you make sure that you know how to get the answers. You want to make sure that you have the money. You want to make sure that you don't put your family in a situation that they're in dire straits or you make these fucked up moves. And so it's the biggest responsibility in the fucking world. It is the biggest responsibility in the fucking world, which is why I'm always talking about be uncomfortable. Do something that sucks every day, because you're constantly trying to sharpen that sword as a man. And the sword is your fucking brain. Because you have to shoulder more than your share of the fucking task. 100% and then some. All the time. So what it means to be a man, it means everything. It means not sleeping sometimes. It means fucking sometimes, you go without to make sure that your family goes forward.
There's nothing good about it. People who don't grow up don't find the sort of meaning in their life that sustains them through difficult times, and they're certain to encounter difficult times. And they're left bitter and resentful and without purpose and adrift and hostile and resentful and vengeful and arrogant and deceitful and of no use to themselves and of no use to anyone else, and no partner for a woman, and there's nothing in it that's good.
If you asked most men throughout history and around the world for a list of qualities that they'd associate with masculinity, the vast majority of them would agree that a man should be strong, courageous, competent, and honorable. Those are what I call the 4 tactical virtues: strength, courage, mastery, and honor.
Maybe a man is better when he's a dangerous man who's being good than he would be if he was just a good man who wasn't capable of being dangerous. And I believe that, because the best men that I've ever met are very dangerous men. You don't mess with them.
People talk about, like masculinity and this term that gets thrown around all the time, like this toxic masculinity and whatever the f that means. And I just think that, again, it's like, what are the examples that we're putting forward, and what are the examples of people, as fathers? What kind of men are you surrounding yourself by? What are the things that are important to you? And I think it's not, to me at least, it's not some sort of rejection of these classically masculine traits. I think that having the ability and understanding you have the responsibility to keep your family safe is absolutely essential in being a man and in providing. I think having a healthy relationship with violence, having an understanding of it. I think teaching your kids to have a relationship with violence where they're not being ruled by fear or shame, but they can have some sort of understanding, some sort of they can touch it, they understand it a little bit, they know what they're doing. I think it's essential. And I also think, being accepting, being kind, being open, being generous, being empathetic are also, part of being a man. And I think that, oftentimes, because so many of the people I think who are kind of leading the charge on and who have, so much, sort of have so much of the platform at their disposal, are kind of leading in these sort of toxic ways where it's all a bunch of bombast and bullshit. And to me, it's been my experience, folks who really know what they're doing in that world, really don't need to, show off about it at all. You know,
Right, the people that are high achievers, they don't really have to beat their own chest and
I think that's right.
blow their own horn.
I think that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, what we think of as toxic masculinity is really a bunch of losers. So a lot of it is like the worst example. But you could get the same, there's no term toxic femininity, right? But there's toxic human beings, and some of them happen to be male, and some of them happen to be female. But it's not an indictment on male, the male gender of the species. That's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
And the idea that you don't need men, that somehow or another, like, the female is the future. I was like, what are you talking about? It's crazy. You need a balance. There's a yin and a yang in this life for a reason.
That's right.
All of it goes together.
That's right.
Just everybody has to do better.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I've really, on this thing that I'm trying to do. I'm really just trying to put up examples of that, men and women who again really walk that walk and are not leading with sort of just and trying to give whatever platform I have to those kinds of people who are real examples of that.